Bum, 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 ba-da-dum. Time for Orville Season 3 reviews. What's going on, everyone? It's time for the Orville New Horizons Season 3, Episode 9, the penultimate episode of this fantastic, long-awaited season. That's right, everyone. We're talking about Domino. And if you're new here and you're not one for spoilers, you're going to want to bow out now because I'm going to clumsily go through pretty much the entire episode and spoil every damn thing. So bow out, come back after you've watched it. You've been warned. Kicking into high gear right now, it's Domino, and boy, oh boy, is this the action-packed, exciting, adrenaline-filled, series-ending type of episode, and we still have one to go. Kicking right off, we've got Talea. That's right, Talea, not sure how to pronounce that correctly because I'm terrible with names. Back on Krill, Ed's old flame, mother of his recently discovered child. She is back on Krill, in charge after that coup that occurred earlier this season. And, well, guess who's coming to visit her? None other than the Mocklin males. That's right, if you followed along in last episode, the Union finally expelled the Mocklin males from the Union over their differing belief system, especially their belief in single-gendered individuals being the only ones worthwhile in their society, and trying to eliminate the females. Specifically, they found out that they were trying to kill Topa, the child of Bortus and Clyden, and that did not fly well. The Union decided, even with the impending Kalon decimation, that we were going to be better off without them. So, what's going on now? A Mocklin male and Krill alliance. That is right. The Mocklins have now gone to Krill, to Talea, to ask for her help in an alliance against both the Union and the Kalon. Stronger together. So is this the new axis of the galaxy? That remains to be seen. Moving along, not only to the Orville, but an entire armada of Union ships. They are around Zalea, that's right, the home planet of original Series 1 Alara Katan, as well as a vast majority of the Zaleans we've met, and our current chief of security, Tala. So this is a very pivotal planet in the Union universe. Probably, I would say this is on par with their version of Vulcan. Not the cultural version of Vulcan, but it seems like that might be that type of a relationship between Earth and Zalea. We are defending it against the Kalon incursion. We've got all of our Union ships in some sort of defense formation around the planet, and we cut down to engineering with Charlie Burke, Isaac, and John Lamar. Apparently, somehow, over the course of this season, they have been working on a Kalon eliminating weapon of some sort, and they are about ready to activate it in a test run to see if they can actively fight off the Kalon or if all hope is to go down the tubes. Can they do it? What's going to happen? Well, the Kalon start forming some sort of attack policy. Not sure exactly what you would call it, but they are about to pummel our Union fleet into dust. They're ready to activate this weapon. Let's find out what happens. A wave of some sort of blue energy just radiates from the ship, almost instantly eliminates all Kalon ships within the wave. And it is now described to us in the audience in some sort of tech way that basically it is working on a principle of the interlink frequencies all Kalons are kind of connected with. It's sort of their subspace interlink. I don't know exactly how it works, but it's disrupting this frequency and causing them to detonate. Isaac is unaffected because, as a traitor to the Kalon, he has been disconnected from their little subgroup there, so he is no longer connected, and as such, not able to be hurt by the weapon that he helped design. The Admiralty is super impressed with this. However, they are very up in arms about the ethical issue behind this. In essence, this would be causing genocide, not of an organic race, an artificial race that is bent on destroying all organic life. So that is a little leeway. Not everyone agrees that it is genocide because they're artificial. They think it might just be like destroying technology that's trying to destroy us. You've got our 3 admiralties here. They're going to go and bring it to the council, the Union Council, to discover what to do with this. Are we going to go out and use this weapon to eliminate the Kalon, or Are we going to use it as a bargaining chip? That is not up to our crew that designed it to plan and figure out. That is up to the Union as a whole. And now we've got this wonderful scene of most of our side character, well, most of our main cast that's not command. We've got Tala, John, Ensign Burke, and Gordon. And they're all kind of sitting here discussing the weapon and what should happen with it, what the Kaylon role is. And we get to see some interpersonal play between them to kind of really see where they each fall. John very much sides with Isaac, his friend, the Kaylon, that it would be genocide, doesn't want to wipe them out. Charlie obviously is very, very against the Kaylon in general and thinks that we should use it. Gordon kind of seems to be on the fence. He makes a callback to Isaac removing his leg in the first season, but he also says, well, that was kind of a joke. I didn't actually mean it. So Gordon kind of seems to be on both sides of the situation, and Talos sort of sides with John. So it's good to see not everyone is on the same side of the issue. While they're debating it in the Union, we do know the Kaylon threat is out there. How will we deal with it? So we end up going to Kaylon to propose to them not really a treaty or an alliance, but to let them know, hey, we've got this weapon, stand down, leave us the hell alone, and we will not destroy you. However, do know we have the ability. So the Union has decided not to go out and instantly eliminate the Kaylon. We should offer them some sort of peace. They're not having it. They're ignoring us. But as we keep blowing their ships out of the sky, wave after wave after wave, Kaylon Primary finally relents and allows our crew down to open diplomatic talks. This crew also contains Admiral Halsey, who, as far as I can recall, this may be his first time visiting an alien planet on the show that we have seen. I think we have seen him on the Orville before when they were leaving Space Dock, but I don't think we've actually seen him on a mission, so that's interesting to see. Cut back to all of our crew now. They're on Earth. They're in Kelly's father's old cabin. I believe they confirm here that Kelly's father is dead. More backstory being filled in here. And we've got Gordon and Charlie having a beautiful duet. They both have great singing voices. Love that we get so much of the music from Gordon this season. I wish we could have had more from Charlie, but I believe this is the first time we've heard her sing, so fingers crossed on that one. We have a wonderful callback to some of the early Moclan hijinks and chicanery that used to happen. You know, if you think back to that cigarette smoking episode, they can't open the walnuts using a nutcracker. They have so much trouble. Tala comes over and is like, you know what, let me help. She just crushes it with her Zillian strength, and they're a bit embarrassed. It's a good scene. I like it. It's a lot of cool interpersonal relationship stuff going on here while we are preparing for what is probably going to be a huge battle with the Kaylon. We have the scene here where we've got our children. We've got Claire's, Isaac, her two kids, and Topa. Topa, if you ask me, is getting a little bit close to Marcus. Could something be going on there? I don't know. That remains to be seen, but I wouldn't hate it. I would not hate it if something goes on there. Suddenly, we cut back to Union headquarters, and these interesting characters here are breaking in to steal the weapon. Now, I do like the way they play this because the one man here, the primary guy, is talking in a very robotic sounding voice. So are these Kaylon in disguise trying to steal the weapon? Are they actually Union officers? Are they the Krill? You know, what's going on here? We aren't entirely sure at the time. Not too long later, we learned that it was actually under the orders of Admiral Perry. And again, we get to see an admiral leaving Earth, going on a mission. He is actually now meeting up with the Krill-Moclan Alliance to give them the Kaylon weapon because, and he is very specific here, he is not a traitor to the Union. He 100% believes in the ideals of the Union. However, he does not believe that letting them live, that letting the Kaylon survive, is the best course of action. They're going to adapt. They're going to come up with countermeasures. And the one advantage the Union has to not be entirely slaughtered is to destroy them now when they have the chance. The Moclan Krill Alliance are going to be people on that side of the spectrum who also will use the weapon right now to destroy the Kaylon, regardless of feelings, regardless of morals, all that stuff. So he is, in his mind, fulfilling his duty to the Union and to preserve all life in the galaxy by getting the weapon to people that will actually use it as was intended. So he believes he is a patriot to the end. Talea, not buying it, not really wanting that this information to fall in the Union hands as soon as it can, because Admiral Perry did say he was going to go turn himself in. shoots him out of the sky, destroys his shuttle. That is the end of Admiral Perry. Or is it? As they always say in sci-fi, if you don't see a body, it may not be true. We'll have to see, but for all intents and purposes, it looks like Admiral Perry is dead. He is gone from the show. We'll have to see. Cut back to the Union immediately figuring out what happened, so I guess his sacrifice was literally for nothing, but it is what it is. Admiral Halsey says that Perry has always been kind of the more conservative dissenting voice in the Admiralty to kind of balance things out so there isn't one side always winning. And they never thought it was going to go this far, but they need to track him down to get this weapon back. How are they going to do that? It could fall into the wrong hands, and if it does, that could mean disaster for everyone. They basically come up with a plan that the only way the Moclan-Krill Alliance could use the weapon is to bring it to this some sort of preeminent Moclan scientist on this outpost planet here. Bortus happens to know the coordinates, and that's where they decide to go. They're going to go try and intercept it before they figure out how to work it, because as of right now, I believe Charlie and Isaac are the only two capable of operating this weapon, and it's going to need such immense power that it can only be powered by some sort of planet-sized quantum core. So there's going to be a huge power output for this bad boy. This was unexpected. This was not what I was expecting to happen whatsoever. The Union, needing to locate this weapon before it is used, contact the Kaylon, let them know what's happening, and offer to form an alliance, a Union-Kaylon alliance, to track down the weapon from the Moclan-Krill Alliance so that the Kaylon are not destroyed, and we are showing them good faith that we want them to survive. Was not expecting this. Very interesting twist. The Kaylon are basically forced to agree because their entire survival, their existence, is predicated upon this weapon not being deployed. So they join us. Nobody is really happy about it, but the Union and the Kaylon send a fleet to this planet against Krill Moclan fleet, and we have a huge friggin' space battle with factions you wouldn't necessarily think. At the beginning of the season, we went into this thinking it was going to be a Union-Krill Moclan alliance against the Kaylon. Hell, I even thought the Spider People from Shadow Realms were going to come in to help. But no, it is the Union and Kaylon fighting the Krill and the Moclan in a wonderful rendered battle. We finally get to see some of the Pterodons do stuff. There was a lot of single-person fighter action. We got to see John and Gordon piloting Pterodons. There were some other people too, some guest characters. I don't believe anyone else that we had met before. I could be mistaken. So some wonderful in-space battles, some wonderful in-atmosphere battles, some sort of Star Wars trench run stuff going on. It was just a great culmination. I will say one thing. If we had not already seen some battles in this season, and it was all leading up to this being the only substantial battle we saw, I think it would have hit a little harder than seeing the battles we had seen earlier in the season. That being said, it is amazing. And if you watch it, especially in a vacuum, it is going to be one of the greatest battles in sci-fi television history, I think. It's even topping some of the ones we saw at the end of Deep Space Nine. We get to see this cool scene here too. They're going to have to abandon the shuttle and enter the planet's surface manually by basically leaping out with their spacesuits. We're going to jump out, and they've got some sort of tech on their suits that allow them to land safely if deployed correctly. The Kaylon basically say, blah, 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 you need to do this, this, this. And Charlie's like, so basically jump and hit the button before you die. I got it, whatever. So she just jumps out. That was a cool scene. Kind of reminiscent of Star Trek 2009 with their whole space chute diving thing. But I actually think it looked a little better. We also saw it in Discovery, but the less said about that, the better. So our characters finally managed to get through and find the location of the lab where they're about to power up the weapon. They've got this planet-sized quantum core, which is going to allow them to just shoot this giant Kaylon killing device throughout, I don't know how much space they said, but a huge chunk of space. So this is going to render the Kaylon basically dead if it goes into action. Charlie, Isaac, and our other Kaylon friends, I think this is Kaylon Primary here, they're trying to deactivate it. The head Moclan is like, nope, Too many redundancies. Ain't gonna happen, son. This thing's going off whether you want it to or not. Too late now. We've got this great one-on-one fight between Kelly and Talea. They have a lot of barbs back and forth, both verbally and physically, so they actually get beaten the hell out of each other quite a bit. I like to see it. It was fun. I would have liked to see a little more fighting from some of the other characters. You know, we didn't get to see much of Tala and her Zalayan strength just like ripping people apart, but we're fighting physical beings. We're not ripping apart robots, so that may have been a little bit over the top. Our characters here finally decide that they can destroy the weapon on one condition. Somebody needs to stay behind to activate it or to deactivate it manually. It's going to blow up the planet because the core has so much energy running through it that it's just impossible. The planet's not going to explode. Only one person has this capability, and it's Charlie Burke with her 4-dimensional brain. She basically tells them, you got to leave me. I'm going to stay behind. I'm going to blow up this weapon. I've hated the Kaylon for what they've done since, they destroyed my ship and my potential future wife back in season 2. And you know what? I'm going to put my life on the line to save the Kaylon. So her entire character arc has now reached its climax. She's staying behind. We captured Talea, get on the shuttle, head back on the Krill shuttle, actually, to the Orville. Charlie staying behind. And possibly one of the greatest scenes from this entire season, if not the entire series, is her, basically doing her thing. Zoom into her eyes here. She says, I'm coming, Amanda, or something along those lines. And we see the explosion approaching in her eyes. As far as we know, that's the end of Charlie. Again, we didn't see a body. She's got a 4-dimensional mind, so maybe she's lost in time, something like that. I don't know. I think, and they've come out to say this, that her character was planned to be a 1-season and done character. Her arc from the beginning was written to be this. That doesn't necessarily mean we'll never see her again, but I do think this was probably meant to be final, unless there's such a fan outcry that they need to bring her back. We will see. The planet blows up. The energy is too much. It's ripping itself apart. Some of the Kaylon ships within range are destroyed. There's a whole bunch of decimation going on. I shouldn't say decimation because, as I recently learned, that actually means to reduce something to 1/10. So I'll just say a lot of hullabaloo. There is a whole lot of hullabaloo going on with these ships destroying themselves. And that's basically the end of the battle. The Kaylon shuttle heads back to the Orville. They board. Kelly is beaten the hell up here, and now she has to inform everyone of Charlie's sacrifice because there was no communication, no time to let anyone know. It was a spur-of-the-moment sacrifice, and now things are starting to settle down and things are starting to sink in. We've got this wonderful scene between Ed and Talea here. Neither of them have any sort of fond emotions towards each other anymore. Talea hates Ed. Ed is not willing to put his life on the line for her again. All he wants is to find out where his daughter is. And she's like, you know what? You'll never find her. There's nothing you can do. Throw me in jail. I don't care. You're never going to find her. And that's going to eat at you. So there's no love lost between those two. And now for something I did not expect when this season started. The Kaylon are being offered provisional membership within the Union. That's right, the Krill alliance fell through. The Mocklins have been booted from the Union. And our biggest enemy, the threat that's been hanging over us ever since Identity, the Kaylon, they are now joining the Union. And this is mostly predicated on the sacrifice of Charlie Burke, somebody who hated the Kaylon. So her sacrificing herself for the Kaylon has allowed them to realize maybe not all organics are the same. Maybe they're not the enslavers like our original Kaylon builders. Perhaps there's something to cooperation. Perhaps we won't eliminate everyone. And perhaps we'll join the Union. Was not expecting that when this season started. Then we've got a wonderful send-off for Charlie Burke. We've got everyone assembled down here for a funeral. Isaac gives his perfect, emotionless eulogy, calling back to her pancake eating from the first episode she was introduced in. The Kaylon really don't understand why she would have sacrificed herself to save them. even with all of her hatred for them. So they're very perplexed. Even though Isaac doesn't really technically have emotions, he seems to get it. He is learning, he is growing, he is adapting, he is becoming more and more than an artificial life form each and every day. And he gets it. Not necessarily in the emotional way that we would get it, but he gets it. And hopefully that means all other Kaylon are able to get it as well. So I just wanted to show this scene here because it may be the last time we ever see Charlie Burke, and I did want to show her photo one last time if that's truly the case. This episode, wow. If this is going to be the series finale, it would have been wonderful, gone out with a bang, but it's not. This is the penultimate episode. We've got one more episode left, and this is where all the budget went. This is where all the resources went. This is where everything has been building towards, maybe not the entire series, but since the Kaylon threat was introduced. We've been building to this throughout season 3. We've been trying to form alliances. They've been falling apart. We've been trying to develop weapons. They haven't been working. We've been having infighting. We've been worried. The Kaylon have been attacking. And now suddenly, reverse, draw 4, all that stuff, out the window. The Union and the Kaylon, allies. The Mocklins, gone, allied with the Krill. Now the entire balance of power in the quadrant, the galaxy, whatever you want to call it, is completely changed. And what does that mean for the future? If we're getting more Orville, everything has changed. From day 1, the beginning of the Orville, everything was established a certain way. The end of season 3, everything has changed. And I don't mean time, but just the geopolitical politics of the quadrant are completely out of whack. And that's a very interesting place to start from, if not in the next episode, from the beginning of season 4 or a movie or whatever. Renew the Orville, hashtag renew the Orville. I can't believe that after all we've seen this season, it won't be coming back. I'm hoping the Disney Plus thing adds more credence to the fact that we're getting more, but if we're going out on such strong episodes, at least we got what we got. So until next time, loved this episode. It is very, very sad to see Charlie go. We've barely gotten to know her, but she did play a very pivotal purpose. Charlie Burke, Topa, MVPs of this season, MVPs of the galaxy. And I can't wait to see what comes next. So until next time, do all those YouTube things, like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all that stuff. Until next time, I'll be back with more Orville for the season finale next time.